A couple years down the road, you are over the course of an hour or so being lulled to sleep by the gentle, humbling hum of the laundromat. You're sitting in a chair facing the row of dryers. You feel the heat radiating out of them. It's kind of warm, kind of comfortable. There's some soft jazz playing on the radio overhead. The smell in the air is pleasant, and you just start to nod off. Your chin tucks, taps your chest, shakes you awake.
Oh God, I hate that feeling.
Yeah. So you think to yourself, you're like, okay, I'm about to fall. I have to like get up. I have to walk around, maybe I should get something to drink. You walk over to the vending machine area, you get a bottle of water out of the machine. You're looking at the the snacks. On G11, there is a single lonely looking Milky Way midnight. You think jackpot, right?
Holy shit.
Normally you don't find them in machines out in the wild. You
No,
you make
never.
a note to yourself of the you go outside, you take a picture of the establishment. You upload
So
it
I can
to
come
the
back.
you upload it to the Google file for the group you're in called MWM in the wild. And it's a bunch of people who when they find Milky Way midnights out at like a convenience store or at like a vending machine or whatever, they document it online because it's not always the easiest candy bar to get your hands on.
No, I can tell you from
So yeah,
experience.
you're part of an online group that documents that. You make sure, you scan you guys have a Google sheet. You scan the you like search for the address, you don't find it. So you enter a new line, right? And you post to the Facebook group. You're like, "Hey guys, got a fresh one over here." You're like, "I just bought the last one." So no promises, but they might refill it with the same. People are like, "Oh, this fucking rules. Thank you, Pat." People are like very appreciative of your efforts.
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like it'll be a good trip either way, So but you're waiting on your laundry, right? You go to the machine, you swipe your card, you hit that G11. You see the coil sort of rotate, releasing the Milky Way midnight into the depths below. You hear thud, thud. You're like, what the fuck? You reach in there and you pull out the Milky Way midnight, but you see something else at the bottom. You're like, huh? You reach in,
Oh.
you grab the you grab the wrapper. You definitely didn't you definitely didn't buy this, but it must have been in there and like got knocked loose when the Milky Way midnight fell. It's a gold and yellow wrapper. It's like the color of honey, you know. It's for a treat called the Butter Bar, which has long been out of production.
Oh,
So
wow.
you kind of like hold this candy bar in your hand. You're like, what the fuck? It looks like dusty. The wrapper looks faded, right? It very much looks aged and dull. It's for the Donaldson's Butter Bar.
Oh shit.
It's it's a white chocolate, right? It's like a white chocolate bar with nougat, and instead of like caramel, it has like a stripe of honey butter in the middle of it.
That is bold.
And it didn't ever the butter bar didn't ever take off,
No.
but either
Okay.
way it was out there for a little while. It was, it certainly was. And like you remember like vaguely hearing references to it in pop culture here and there. But the butter bar was never something that you had ever seen, or it was by the time you were buying your own candy as a young man, it was already off the shelves. You just missed the butter bar boat.
Oh man.
And it was only kind of a known thing because in an effort to like get the butter bar off the ground, they did like a thing where they promised like you can come tour the facility where we make this, right? Like they're every, you get the butter bar, you open it up, and if there is a picture of their mascot, which is like it's like a two mascot, it's a cow with big fucking fat udders,
Hell
right?
yes.
Udders that look heavy under the weight of the milk inside.
Oh, okay.
And the other like sitting on the shoulder of that cow with the fat udders,
Yeah.
those big fat milky udders. On top of her shoulder was a bumblebee or like a bee, and he was covered in pollen. So if you see their mascots on the inside of the bar, you like won a free trip to go to the Donaldson uh honey butter factory.
Shit,
So,
yeah.
it again, so the bar didn't do well because the butter needed to be refrigerated, right?
They didn't account for that.
Well, not really. Um
I guess they're new
the
to the
because
candy bar game.
that's the whole thing. They're like, look, the butter can be out. It's like real butter. It can be out for much longer. It's not going to go bad. Like it's just we live in a country that, you know, tells you it's got to be refrigerated all the time. It doesn't.
But it
So they
does.
thought that it was going to be good, right? Because in all of their testing, these things were rolled off the line a couple days ago. They were packaged and then given to people, and they were dynamite. Everybody loved them. They're like, if you like white chocolate, that's like the only thing. You got to like white chocolate, but if you do, you'll love the Donaldson's Butter Bar. And it just never took off. And so the family was like the testing on this was through the roof, right? It was like Terminator 2 level through the roof testing on this. Okay. People were like, this is a smash hit. This is gonna sell everywhere. You're gonna be the new Snickers. And due to, storage and travel and getting America on board with a white chocolate candy bar with a honey butter center, it took them a little more. They anticipated that the American public would be a little bit more adventurous. So
With
they like
food?
they threw production
Huh.
into fucking overdrive, right? The testing numbers were so good, they were able to get new loans from the bank. They built a fucking theme park on their factory grounds. And 6 months after the launch, America flatly rejected the butter bar. Now, the people who loved it fucking loved it, right? The people who loved it were like, this is my favorite candy bar of all time, and it's not even close. So people, when the internet first popped up, people were buying them online. They were, keeping them in their house for years. Some of these bars are decades old. But if you were doing that, it's because you love the bar. And you weren't just going to let them sit in your closet. No. You were going to eat your dinner. Your kids were going to go to bed. Your wife was going to lay down, put on a TV show. You were going to go out to the garage, pull one from the box that you keep on a top shelf away from sights, line of sight, so you don't get tempted. You were going to walk back inside, And under the lone dim bulb, you'd slowly unwrap that butter bar. You'd let it get exposed to air the way you would a fine wine, and you'd eat it silently with your eyes closed, right there in your dining room,
In the dark.
under a lone bulb. So, people like the butter bars went quickly, right? And you're holding one in your hand and you look at it and you're like, holy shit, like this thing has to have been wedged inside of this thing for decades,
Yeah.
and you see the butter bar, it's got the Donaldson script, the Donaldson butter bar. You see the cow and that Soupy bee sitting on the back of that cow, covered in
A soup,
pollen.
a soupy bee.
You look at this bee and you know that he was the first one out in the morning.
What
He
do you
loves
mean?
he loves hunting for pollen when it is at its soupiest. When the dew slides down the walls of the petals of that flower and mixes with that pollen and it's all soupy. Here he comes. Soupy Joe.
Soupy Joe.
When
Here he
you see
comes.
Soupy Joe on the cover, it kind of makes you smile a little bit. You look online and there hasn't been one of these butter bars sold in like 4 years. And the last time it sold, it was for $16,000 for one bar,
16 large.
16 large. You kind of pick it up and you look at it. You see they have the contest thing written on the back. It says if you see Catherine and Soupy Joe on the inside of the wrapper, you get a free tour to the Donaldson Honey Butter Factory. You read all this stuff. You hold it in your hands, careful to like not grasp it so it melts. You kind of sit there like, holy shit, like this is a relic. And then you start thinking about it. You're like, well, I'm white chocolate might not be my first pick, but I'm certainly not opposed. You know,
Yeah, sure.
who doesn't love a good nougat? I mean, you certainly are a nougat man.
I am. Yeah, I'll cop to that. I'm a nougat
Yeah.
man.
I'm a nougat kind of man. You know,
Won't you nougat for me, son, if you can?
exactly.
A
My
nougat
mama
kind of
told
man.
me, yeah. And the idea of biting into a river of honey butter, frankly, doesn't sound half bad.
No, I guess not.
You kind of stare, you put the butter bar down on the table, you kind of stare at it. The hum of your clothes tumbling in the dryer sort of hypnotizes you in a way.
Yeah.
You look in and you can like see like the ink from the other side has like kind of bled into the front. And you see the mascots on the back side of this wrapper. You know that this candy bar would get you a free tour to the Donaldson's Honey Butter Factory.
Or I
So
could
in kind of
sell
like
it.
a yeah, I guess. But you do decide to open it in kind of a rush.
What?
The thrill of winning is so great. You peel it open. By God, you see Catherine and Soupy Joe right there on the inside, smiling back at you. And it says, congratulations, you've won. There's an 800 number there printed on the bottom. You call it.
Mhm.
You call it. Somewhere outside of town, a landline rings that nobody's called in 20 plus years.
Oh, creepy.
A dusty handset sits in a on a desk in a windowless room. A man sitting in a chair at the desk. His eyes light up. He reaches out, picks up the phone, again covered in dust. He says, "Who are you, and how'd you get this number?"
My name is Patrick Dean, and I got excuse me. I went to a vending machine and I found this candy bar and found this phone number and I'm calling.
He says, "Mr. Dean, what's the address of where you got this candy bar?" And you tell him the address, right? You send him a picture, the same one you posted to the group. He says, "Now, don't take this as any accusation, but would you mind sending me a photograph of the inside of that wrapper with Sweet Catherine and Soupy Joe?"
Of course.
You take the picture, you send it in. You hear a soft weep from the other side of the line, and he goes, "It's been so long since I seen these two smiling like this."
The drawings?
And he says, "Mr. Dean," he sniffles. He says, our little park closed down a long time ago, but I'm willing to throw the power back on if you bring me that wrapper."
Whoa.
He says, "It's just you. Nobody else is allowed. Will you bring me that wrapper, Patrick?"
Yeah.
He goes, "Great." You guys exchange information. He sends you an email, got the address, right? You guys converse a little bit. You decide you're going to go next weekend. That Saturday morning, you get up at like 10 a.m. You make the, I don't know, hour long drive in your fucking Ford Fiesta.
Hell yeah.
You pull up, you drive, you take a little exit off the highway.
The Fiesta rides again.
The Fiesta fucking rides. Take a little county highway to a side road. You see a bunch of like old billboards down the road. "The happiest place on earth, Donaldson Honey Butter Farms," right? On the other side of the road, they say, one sign says, "God," and then in parentheses, "or whatever religious being you believe in, has been good to us. Come see how the farm." The next one says, "Donaldson's Honey Butter Farm, ant free since 2003." And there's a picture of like a cow with big fucking milky udders,
Mm.
like ready to stomp out an ant, and the ant is looking up and it says, "Help me." It's like clearly scared for its life. So you drive down, you see these old billboards, right?
Uh,
Down like a tree lined road. And the trees have been there for a long time. Like they've grown up to this point. You kind of clear the tree lined area and you see this like amusement park in front of you. There's three roller coasters that you can see. There's a Ferris wheel, right? Parking for fucking 1,000 cars. You pull up and you see a man in an all white suit with like a cream colored hat. He kind of like waves at you as you pull up. You park right up front. I mean, there's nobody else there. It's abandoned.
yeah.
You get out of your car and he throws a switch on the wall, and you see all the lights light up like it was the first time they'd ever been turned on. Not a bulb burnt out. brilliant shine, gorgeous hue. This is what this place always was intended to be. The
Okay.
man
That is
walks over to
weird.
you. He extends a hand. He goes, Don Donaldson, Donaldson Honey Butter Farms. You're Mr. Dean?
Yes, sir.
You shake his hand.
Yeah.
He says, well, I thank you for coming out here, Pat. I believe you got something that belongs to me.
Yes, sir, I do.
You give him that wrapper. He takes it with both hands, stares at it for at least 90 seconds in complete silence. Tears run down his cheek. He kind of gathers himself. He looks at you through teary eyes and he says, follow me, Mr. Dean, into the happiest place on earth. And you're like, I think that's trademarked. He goes, not around here, it ain't. So you go like, he's like, feel free to ride any ride. They're all staffed. We got concessions wide open, dogs on the grill, whatever you want. He goes, I can't thank you enough for turning this in. Have a fun time. He leaves, the gate closes behind him. You look around, there's like kind of like leads you in from like the into like a games area, where there's they got like all the carnival games, the ring toss, right? They
Mhm.
got a dunking booth. There's a pop a shot kind of a thing. You're going through, you're not really interested in those, right? You're not there to win stuffed prize. You're not like, yeah, you'll take your shot, but you're gonna make this count. You're like, I want to ride the rides. So there are three um roller coasters that make up like the flagship rides of Donaldson's Honey Butter Factory. Um, one is called uh the Churn. It's called the Churn, and it's one of those that like you're like in this car and you're like the car is like it's designed to look like a big squirt of milk, you know? It's just
Ugh.
like the side of the car is just like a big rocket of milk. And you're like rocketing through, right? There's a couple loops and all that. At the very end, you go up like straight up and down vertical, like hundreds of feet in the air, and there's a video board on the backside. And you see like a busty Amish woman just come grab like a handle and she just like squishes you down. She like, she's churning butter. She like squashes it down. And when she does that, like your fucking car like flies back and does it in reverse. It's called the churn.
The churn. Churn is something
Yeah.
else, man.
Yeah. It certainly is. And I'll just say that like the busty Amish lady, um, I mean, the video has aged very well.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, the 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 next one, the second biggest one
Hmm?
is called um King of the Hill. And it's like this, you're in like a little mine cart, right? You
Hmm?
like you walk into like a covered area. You're in like a little mine cart, right? And you get in there, it takes you up and it like dives you into like what is it? Basically a giant ant hill underground. And
Hmm?
you like get pulled along through the ant hill on your way up, and there's like ants coming out and like snapping at your fucking cart, and at one point you gotta like duck an antenna that sweeps by you. Um at the very tip of the cart is a stick of dynamite. So you make your way all the way up to the top of this track, and then you light the stick of dynamite. It falls off the front of your cart, and the shake like jostles your cart loose, and then you like proceed down into into more dips and stuff, and eventually come back to frankly the whole like anthill being demolished. You know, so
Yeah.
that's the second
Okay.
one. The third one is called Soupy Joe's Wild Ride, and the cart is shaped like a bee, like a bumblebee, or like a little honeybee, and it is just like covered in pollen. So you get in, right? You get in the cart, it lowers you down onto the track, and there's like a door in front of you. And you look around, and there's like a beehive that's surrounding you. You go out through the hole, and you get like misted in the face, because it's early in the morning. There's like they simulate the reflection of light bouncing off the dew, and you just go through like all it's like an insane roller coaster, right? It takes you up super high. There's all these like flips and turns and spins, and it's you're just hanging there, right? There's no floor, it's one of those. And you go all the way up, and you look out over like this beautiful, pristine view of a Texas landscape. It's punctuated with little thickets of trees. You see, like the light filling up a canyon, the other half still obscured in shadow. You see the sun angry overhead, and you think, God damn, this is God's country.
Yeah.
And then you like have this steep fucking drop into a pit, into a bath of this warm, honey flavored liquid.
What?
You come out and you smell like honey. Soupy Joe does like a 360, and all the fucking liquid just flies off of your body. You're like somehow immaculately dry. So you like you do all the roller coasters. You do all the coasters. You do a couple other
Toast.
rides. You get some snacks, right? You get a little sandwich for lunch, a little sandwich and chips. Hmm.
What kind of sandwich?
It's called uh the bacon butter bomb sandwich.
Whoa.
It's like a BLT, but it's on like grilled bread. It's like a grilled cheese where it's buttered and grilled with
Oh, okay.
it's like honey
Yeah.
butter. They do it and then they grill it with honey butter and there's like a BLT on there.
Man, I used to do that when I was working at Silver Diner back in the day in Tyson's Corner, Virginia. I used to make a version of that kind of. Wow, that's crazy.
You know what's even crazier is that ideas exist everywhere,
Sure.
you know? And the people who made the menu for Donaldson's Honey Butter Farm were inspired one day when they sat down for lunch and saw a young man eating
Oh, fuck you.
that exact concoction.
Really?
The smell of it, right? The guy sitting at the table, he tells his wife who's 9 months pregnant and doesn't believe in his dreams. He says to her, when I get my first restaurant, that's what I'm putting on the menu. And she rolls her eyes. She's like, whatever. It doesn't last very long between the two of them, but it never stopped him from trying to like, complete his dreams. And he did wind up his first restaurant was called it's called the Prairie Eatery. And it's nothing fancy, but it's fair. It's not fair food, but it's like picnic food, that kind of a thing. Sandwiches, salads, nothing crazy, nothing too heavy. They don't have they're not making pastas, they're not like grilling steaks or anything. It's
Is it any good?
sandwich. Honestly, yeah. There's something about having the honey butter be what, toast the bread. Just brings something out of you that you didn't quite know was in there. So, you have your lunch, right? You're walking around. They've got merch, just like hung up there. They've got you see the mascot, Catherine and Soupy Joe, just kind of walking around the park, right? Everybody you pass waves are like, "Hey Pat, hey Pat, hello Mr. Patrick."
What's up, guys?
They all say, "Not much." So it's clear that they've been like coached, they're there to serve. They're there to serve you.
Oh, that is, yeah. All right.
So you take like a quick
Whatever.
tour of the actual factory itself, right? Don Donaldson, he meets you. He's on a little golf cart. He meets you. He goes, "Well, Pat, hope you're having a good time." He
Yeah.
says, "How'd you like to see how the sausage is made? Figuratively speaking, of course. We're a butter company." You're
Yeah,
like, "Yeah,
let's
sure,
go.
that's fine." So you hop on the
Let's
golf
do
court.
it.
You hop on the golf cart. He gives you like a little quick tour of the factory grounds, the house that his great grandfather built when they settled on the land is still standing in the back. It's he talks about how it truly is a family affair. He takes you into the like the creamery, right? It's where they get all the cream, all the milk. You walk in, you see all these cows like all penned up, and people are like honking, they're like squeezing the udders, and the cows are all like, "Oh, yeah," they're like loving
Oh,
it.
oh,
And you're
Aaron.
kind of like, "What?" And you don't really think much of it. And Mr. Donaldson's like, "Here's where we get our milk, which gets turned into our cream." And you're like, he shows you like these vats are where the honey comes into play. They have like a bunch of beehives on site. You guys are nearing the end of the tour, and they have like what they call like the finishing tank, right? Where the butter gets chilled and ultimately is like solidified and then is prepared for processing and then ultimately distribution. So you guys are like walking up on the finishing tank. You're walking like you hear like the clang of his shoes on like the fucking steel walkway. You got on like safety helmets.
Hmm.
You turn the corner, you see the finishing tank, and standing over the top of it is a man. He's wearing all black, black
Oh,
shoes, tight black pants. He's got a button-up dress shirt tucked into those pants. He's got a silk vest over that. He's got a bowler's cap on. He's got a dark mustache, dark eyebrows, and about a 7 o'clock shadow.
really?
You look at his face and you immediately think, man, it looks like it's dark outside, but it's not. It's like the middle of the day. So,
Because of the 7 o'clock shadow, Aaron.
yeah.
Oh,
So
all
you
right.
you look down and Don just kind of freezes, right? And he goes, you see a guy who's like dropping stuff, handfuls of things into the tank. Don Donaldson, he stands there and he goes, "Jarvis." And the guy stops. He does that thing that they do in the movies where he like he's doing something and he doesn't change like his body, he just like turns his head. And he goes,
Okay.
"Donaldson, I saw you fired up the hate machine again," referring to like his factory, and all the cows
Mhm.
behind him that are just like, "Oh yeah," you know.
So hold on. So the cows are moaning. Or are they mooing?
The line between a moan and a moo is probably more thin than you would think.
That's so stupid.
So Jeremy Jarvis stands over there. He dumps whatever's the rest in his hand. He kind of like smacks his hands off.
Hmm.
Donaldson goes, "This is the last time you put ants in my butter, you son of a bitch." He leans down. He pulls a snub nosed pistol from his sock.
Oh no. Come on,
Jarvis sort of
guys.
like rolls forward and he pulls a pistol out of his sock too.
No, come on.
They're kind of standing there. breathing heavily, deep, ragged breaths.
Guys,
They both look at you.
we all need to calm down.
And Don Donaldson looks at you. He goes, "What do you mean both? I've given you the day of a lifetime here at my factory. You should be on my side."
I know, but we have to calm down because you're both pointing guns at each other. Let's put the guns away, then we can yell at each other as much as we want.
Jeremy Jarvis, he goes, "So you're okay being on this asshole's side?" He
I
goes,
guess we'll have to
"This,"
see.
he says, "this guy has unethical farming practices, and it's costing you dollars and cents at the grocery store." He goes, "You should be on my side."
Okay.
Both
Let's
both of
figure
them
this
are
out after the guns
both
are put away.
both of them are just looking at you. Don goes, "Well,"
All right, Don, I'm with you. I guess you're the one I know better.
you hear a bang, and Jeremy Jarvis just shoots you right in the heart.
What?
Yeah. As soon as you pledge allegiance to Don Donaldson,
Oh
he put a
no.
slug right in your chest.
Fuck.
You say, "Oh shit," in like slow motion. You fall backwards, you piss
I
your pants,
fought
and you
slow.
shit your pants, and you fall in slow
No.
motion into like a boiling hot vat of milk.
Oh God.
A
I
boiling hot
fucking
vat of
hate
milk.
milk. I don't
Yeah.
like milk in real life. I
It
really don't
it
like it.
fills
This is
it fills your aching mouth boiling hot as
no,
you
no, no.
in your last moments. You bleed out in the milk itself, and you end up like it takes them like a long time. They weren't gonna go down there when it was that hot, so you just kind of your body just kind of like steeps in this milk, and they have like a batch of milk that they have to throw out, but they don't like throw
Oh.
it out. They just like package it differently, and they sell it to school districts at a discount.
Oh my God. The
Yeah.
tainted candy bars.
No, it's actual milk. It's the milk that your body was steeped in and was boiled in.
Oh
Instead of like
no.
selling
So
it for
it's
profit in schools, they just
yeah.
sold it to to instead of selling it for profit in stores, they just sold it at a deep discount to schools in poor areas. So all these school kids drank
Oh
milk that your dead
no.
body had floated
No.
in for
Oh, poor
hours.
kids.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
there are so many mysterious illnesses.
Man. What a way to go out. What a absolute bummer way to go out. I fucking hate milk so much.
Yeah, now you have
Ah,
your own flavor.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, at least Soupy Joe's back, I guess.
He never went away.